Ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat for you today, in addition to me and Steve. So you're just like, oh, him and Steve again. Yes, I know. But today we have from the UBX Cloud office in India, Gagan, who has traveled halfway across the globe at great expense just to appear in this video. And then she's going right back. So thank you for being with us today, Gagan.
Thank you so much.
Um, Steve and Gagon actually really make up sort of the team that is on top of cybersecurity issues within the company. And you've got some developments that you wanted to let people know about today. Tell me about that.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, it's 14,000 kilometer journey, but it's wonderful to have her right next to me.
It is.
And
So much for having me.
I'm like the backup and disaster recovery guy, and she's like the police lady in the cyberspace world. So it's
Hmm.
we converge nicely. So just recently, we had a situation that was brought to our attention regarding some local healthcare institutions that were all ransomware. And the lesson that I just want to convey is for these small business owners, especially ones in healthcare, to understand that a single cybersecurity event could potentially bankrupt their business. And I even some of these things I wasn't aware about because on the HIPAA and healthcare side, it's not a strong area of mine. But this particular location was ransomware. All their patient data was went through like double extortion. So the threat actors locked everything down for a ransom payment. And then as a contingency, they already exported and exfiltrated all the client's data, so all their medical information. Now, the client is under the impression that because they're using web-based medical scheduling software and medical patient management software, EMR, EHR, that they don't have to worry about these compliance components on their networks. And
Bad.
yeah, there's assumptions that are being made that just aren't valid. And then we had subject matter experts and attorneys on the call, and everyone was just like, no, that's not how this works. So they mistakenly, the decision makers mistakenly were under the assumption that they were in the clear because they're simply uploading these documents. Well, the threat actors took the documents that were transient, that were sitting there on their systems, and stole all of them. And the repercussions of this is enormous, and more than like I said, more than I realized, because for each record that is exfiltrated and in the wrong hands, there's a fine attached to it, like a dollar amount, and that dollar amount exceeds the revenues of the business by tenfold.
Do we have a pretty good idea of what made them vulnerable to the ransomware attack?
Um, I suspect that it was actually a phishing email that
Okay.
someone clicked on, and their network is pretty basic, and it was wide open, so it would have been very trivial for the threat actors to scoop up that data. Um, the decision makers also, like getting an answer on whether or not they had cybersecurity insurance was a challenge, and that was really surprising on my end because the clinics that are targeted by this group are not typically small clinics, and this clinic was
But it's not a.
it wasn't I mean, I would say there were almost 100 million in revenue, which is rather large in my opinion, but in their minds, they kind of felt that they were still a bit small business-ish, and not having cyber insurance was very surprising to me, because we have much smaller companies, under 10 million, that have solid cybersecurity insurance. And it wasn't clear on whether or not this was a thing, or if they had something in place, and I find that to be surprising. So I and more common with much smaller companies. So it's like, look, make sure that you talk to your insurance agent and that you have your bases covered, and that you're not just, checking a box and moving on, because there is a serious possibility that this company could go away very soon. If these things, if these things bubble to the surface, and with hitting, like, this group specifically goes after these kinds of practices. Like, they target. It's not just the crime of opportunity. It's they're actually going after these specific people in this field. So that's terrifying that they know exactly how to get you, and they know exactly like, hey, if you don't pay us the ransom for your data, like let's say I come into the picture and I restore the customer's data and they're okay, they don't have to pay the ransom, but they already exfiltrated the data. So that means that there's already a second thing that they can try to get money from, even after you pay the ransom if you want to.
Let me direct a question to our police officer here. Um, because if they're targeting other healthcare practices as well, Gagan, what can those practices do if you haven't been hit, but you could be next? What could you be doing right now to protect yourself?
So, I would not go like on the bigger side of the picture, but for a smaller, to be start with, as Stephen has mentioned, the cyber insurance is must. Then you
Mhm.
can start with basic of cybersecurity like backups, patch management, password management, and then multi-factor authentication. You need to have your SOC monitoring, EDRs, to and email security, especially if you are being targeted by phishing
Phishing
emails
attacks,
or
yeah.
spams, so that you need not to worry about landing a random email in your inbox. And few more practices I would say, but these are the basic they need to start with.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just to add a little bit to
Mhm.
that is that the insurance companies, like that was the first recommendation, would be just be in cyber insurance, right? Like I don't sell insurance. I'm not an insurance expert or anything like that, but I try to understand the risk involved with not doing these things. Not making a decision is a decision, and not getting proper insurances for your business is a decision that you're making. And same thing with backups. So in these situations, it's like, okay, make sure that you're protected, because the cyber insurance companies will actually, the other items that you listed, as a part of their
Yes,
diligence, they won't give you the insurance until you
you
actually
have.
go through and demonstrate that you have these things in place. And that's
Okay.
actually exactly what we want. We want you to be safe, and we want your data to be recoverable. And we want, when you get hurt by these threat actors, to be able to recover. So one way or another. Um,
And addition to that, for especially healthcares,
mhm.
if you can recall, we allies give them recommendation to check with their state healthcare rules and regulations,
Yeah.
how to handle PHI and such kind of events. So because and then brand reputation as well, how to inform the customers, and
Well,
the
here,
process is very long.
yeah. So I wasn't aware of some of these other nuances, but yeah, if their patients are out of state, they have to actually go through each attorney general's office in each state and understand their requirements for reporting. Because ignorance is not gonna, ignorance is, you can't claim ignorance on these things, especially when the severity of violating these rules on the healthcare side is so paramount. I mean, they have auditors, they have advisors, they have trainers, they have like, this this particular unit of medical business, there are oversight, right? So like I said, just these are very basic things. Check your insurance policies. Even the discussion of saying like, well, we pay all this money to our vendors for IT management, and then the vendors are like, hey, well, actually, you declined this coverage, and you made the decision to not go this route, and against our best advice. And here's the signatures of you on the documents, kind of stating that you're taking responsibility for it. I mean, that's a death sentence for some people.
Yeah.
So don't put yourself in that position. I mean, the amount of money that we're talking about is so minimal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 20 cups of coffee a month, right? Like you probably pay. Actually, you know what? I told someone that I said, you know what? I actually did the math, and I'm like, your postage machine is actually what it would cost for, like, what you're paying for your postage machine is what it would cost for like proper insurance or offsite backups.
That
Uh,
that is astonishing when you put it like that. Like there's no conceivable reason anyone would turn down that coverage if they think about it like that.
no, but it's mainly by it's almost like some of these decision makers are just like, they perceive value in very different ways, and
Mhm.
they don't believe that the cost, or they don't believe that this is something that they should really invest in either. It's just like a personal motivation or feeling against it, like, oh, I never want to pay for that, right? Like, like my wife will say, I won't buy anything online that doesn't come with free shipping, right? So they just
Mhm.
jack up the rates of the products to cover the shipping expense, but it doesn't matter, even though she's paying double. she's happy that she doesn't have to worry about the shipping aspect of it. And that's exactly how these people are looking at, these risk things. I'm not going to pay that extra $200 a month for backups because I'm paying these guys so much money, they should just have it. Like that's the mentality.
That's hilarious.
Okay. So any of the things you just said people could do, if they're thinking to themselves, I don't know how to do that, they can call you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put the number at the bottom of the screen too.
Yeah, I always advise people honestly. And I've been doing that my entire professional career. But on Gagan's side of the fence, because of the work that she's in on policing the cybersecurity aspect of it, she has built a network of contacts in all these areas. So even if she doesn't know or I don't know, we will get you in front of the right people for this.
Okay. All right, folks, seriously, do not wait on this. Cyber attackers are targeting people. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you don't know for sure that you're not next. So don't spend one more day unprepared. Thanks to you both.
Thank you for having us.